This video is sponsored by the Mark 15 Hydra. The Mark 15 is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is barrel, bolt, and a magwell. The changing is quick and easy, and the combinations are practically limitless. With just one serialized lower, you can have any configuration you can imagine. And by TNVC, check out the new Mars LC 2000 meter laser rangefinder. It's compact and loaded with features including a built-in ballistic computer, Bluetooth, a red aiming laser, as well as an IR ranging laser which cannot be detected by most night vision devices. Check out tnvc.com for all the details.
So 1,000 rounds later, and we are now here with the Franklin G-S173. This is a pretty cool pistol. There's definitely some quirks. There is some training and learning curves involved in this. However, I think you'll be impressed with, given how complex the system is, or it's not complex, but like how much they've added to the system, that they didn't really make it unreliable. It was actually pretty cool. Once you got some rounds down range, this thing started to make more sense. Mm-hmm. I hated initially when I decided to zero this thing like a foot left and low.
I know what the problem is. Josh zeroed this red dot.
It was a foot left and high.
There it is, a foot left and high. Yeah. But once it was re-zeroed and we had some actual training time on it, I'd say after like the first 50 rounds, it got intuitive for me personally.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so. I mean, you guys probably saw we started with bill drills, right? And first we were just making sure we could get accurate shots on paper because we don't want to send anything over the berm. And it's, I wouldn't say it's not intuitive. I mean, you understand that one pull and one release, each is a function of the trigger. But like when you start going fast, your brain kind of loses it. Like Binary Boy over here, he can let him rip. But
you gotta change your name in the Discord to Binary Boy. BOI, right?
Just gotta pull the trigger and then let it go. It's pretty easy.
But I think the biggest thing when we talk about training on this firearm, one, it's fun. I mean that's right off the bat.
The Glock Switch at home, it delivered on that. It did. Sure.
It did. So I had a blast stationary, just letting them rip, right? But then when we got into the actual running around, it gets slightly more complicated when, for example, if you have a specific course of fire, right? So we set up a couple stages USPSA style, 2 on paper. We ended up doing 2 on steel because you would end up throwing around, and then you're like, stuck. Okay, so then you either have to make sure to flip it up into the safe mode or the semi mode to deactivate the trigger before you move, or keep that thing pinned, which is unsafe. And if you do ever run matches, what is your muscle memory? Finger off the trigger, right? So it's like almost intuitively telling you to send around if you're going too fast, if it's beyond your capabilities, right? So I think that's the training portion of it. Make sure if you're going to get into anything complicated, just get some reps on that thing. Once you do, I mean, there's plenty of times where Bobby and I would send a couple rounds and we go, oh, okay, well, we threw one, hit steel, mic'd the next one, threw another one, okay, safe, and then we would move.
I think several times where I was running and I got stuck on one, just literally flip up, finger off the trigger, move, and just throw back on. And it's easy enough to throw back into binary mode with like one hand.
Yeah.
So I was like, just reach up, turn it off with my left hand, move, bop, and go.
True.
Yeah, I think so. We shoot tens of thousands of rounds a year collectively through guns and doing training, and between the OSD channel and this channel and all the other stuff, we probably do. I don't even know that I've had a muzzle violation. Not to mention I had 2 negligent discharges with this gun for that reason. Is I would have to do a follow-up shot or whatever. Unfortunately,
is it really negligent? I think it's more unintended because you still were pointing the gun in like a safe direction.
That's what I was going to argue. If you're very well trained in pistols in general, it's a good and a bad thing. One, you're going to observe at least 3 of the 4 firearm safety rules, which if you're doing, you're going to be fine. You break one every single time you touch a gun, at least once. But like at the same time, if you have all of that muscle memory, I think the second you try to run it fast, like you said, trying to get off the trigger, and I don't think the training's necessarily in getting the gun to hit. If you have a good grip and you have like your first shot's a good sight picture, everything else after that, getting
and a good zero.
And a good zero.
And a good zero.
That's the most important if you're running a red dot. It actually was really easy. I really thought we would struggle more, specifically on the release of the trigger to get that, because you got to imagine.
Yeah, I just suck when I'm moving.
Probably in the hundreds of thousands of.
We have a little bit of disagreement here, though, because Paul seems to think that the way to do it is just to kind of let it fly.
I'm on the let it fly group.
Yep. So
If I'm trying to make an accurate shot, like we were
Yes.
doing our 25-yard
Yes.
like accuracy testing.
You did win.
I could not just let it go. I would hit like way too low or high right of it. Like I have to, which is super weird too, because as you're pulling the trigger, releasing the trigger,
Yeah.
it's gonna go off. And then when it goes off, like there's no wall because you're letting off of a trigger, not pulling on the trigger.
Yeah.
So there's no wall as you're letting off. So it's just gonna kind of go off.
here's my
And we
argument.
even demoed that there's like a false wall on the release.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm gonna pull, and then on the release, you can. What throws me off, and this is why I don't like Bobby's solution, right? So if you're going slow because you're trying to get that accurate shot, right, and you're coming off, you'll actually feel. I don't know if you could hear that. The click.
That is not the gun.
But
going
that's
off. Yeah.
not it going off.
Yeah.
You have to continue to release it,
That's
and then
the gun
it'll go
going off.
bang.
Yeah.
So it's unintuitive, and I think it can cause, well, in certain, if you're, maybe not if you're Bobby, but I
did shoot
found
this gun to
that
death.
when I tried to like write it like that, I ended up getting an extra round going off because I was kind of saying, I was keeping pressure on the trigger, thinking I'm going to come off slowly, and I felt that click.
Yeah.
Wait a second. It didn't go off. Let it go off a little bit more. It shoots, and then you
Yeah. I
grip
think
because of the shot, right? That was completely unintentional.
It was almost an A zone though.
Yeah, there are smarter and more experienced and better shooters than me that say that it does not matter how you pull the trigger. It matters how you grip the pistol to get accurate shots, especially on follow-up shots.
But that's what I was gonna say is
Yeah.
when my method of just letting it slowly out
Yeah.
for me, I was literally like locking the gun down
yeah.
so that it wouldn't go off again. I think that's where it comes from is like if you're letting go of it and you don't have necessarily the tightest grip on it, I could see it,
Yeah.
the gun flipping and then your finger just being there, and that's how you're maybe getting a second round off.
That's fine. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but it's
Yeah.
something that can happen. And if you're, it's just a
It
different
happened
system.
to at least two of us, not me.
This is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of people who currently subscribe to the idea that you pin the trigger to the rear
Yeah.
in shooting and you ride the reset. That will not work on this gun. You can make it happen, but the likelihood that you get a third round out of it really should be a pull and a release cadence of shooting.
And I think more
like
people should not subscribe to that.
Agreed.
But I
That's
think
what
a
I'm
lot of
saying.
people do, and a lot of people have been taught that.
a ton of the people, they're going to watch the footage and be like, why are they slapping the trigger? And I'm like, one, that's the only way to get this gun to work properly. And you shot this like a machine gun. This thing was fast. Even though it's still a single action of the trigger to make it go off with as fast as he can shoot, it was
and I
dummy
think
fast.
that it's one of those things where there's definitely pro shooters out there with
they can shoot that
crazy
fast on
freaking
a semi,
splits
yeah.
and combination of trigger, gun, and training. But like yesterday, Bobby let it rip on that Mr. Target,
Yeah.
and it was like 22 rounds in 2.7 seconds.
It was fast. Running it fast, though, like I was really surprised. Like keeping it in the A zone, even in some of these shots were 12 yards, 15 yards, relatively fast. It wasn't terribly hard to get bang, bang, or bang, bang to go. You stacked a few that were just like,
Oh yeah,
right
I
next
mean
to each other,
that's the
which
thing.
was kinda wild.
So is this the precision long range pistol trigger? No, it's the make rounds go fast.
Yeah.
Glock 18 at home, do it for fun.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that in close quarters, Bobby and I were stacking double alphas
Yeah.
all day long,
10
an
yards
inch
in,
apart.
this thing's pretty easy.
It's exactly.
And it's a bit of a bullet hose.
Yeah, and I think
Past that, I think, I wouldn't be taking hostage shots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, and some of that's going to be like your individual proficiency. The better a shooter you are, the cooler I think this thing gets for you as a tool, if that makes any sense. But I think of things to be cool, I'd like to see this in like a little PCC chassis. I think that would be rad.
Oh yeah, if you have a stock on this in a chassis or a brace,
Either way, 3 points of contact with this would crush. I think what's cool too is you still don't lose the regular, if you don't have a training on it, and it goes right back to where it's supposed to be. You do have the delete feature. We talked about that earlier, which I think makes this safer. I think that was really smart. And for a Glock slide, it's kind of expensive, but you're technically buying a slide in a trigger pack. And like, if you've never removed the pins on your frame for a Glock, take this to an adult.
like the amount of shooting we did, because it's a unique feature and it's binary, and everyone goes, I want to see how fast I can shoot this, right? Like, let me try it. Let me try. You don't normally go to the range with your Glock and go like, I'm going to mag dump a 32 round stick. Here, your turn to mag dump a 30 round.
Well,
like, how fast can you shoot it?
That's literally how my range days
I
go.
was gonna
Okay,
say,
well, never mind.
I've seen the internet enough. I know
Okay.
I've seen enough range trips, but this will get you through that a little bit faster. I think Franklin actually put something together that's pretty cool.
And to my knowledge, I think this is the only binary system that actually gives you a actual like slide control.
Yeah.
There's a couple other triggers that are out there. But I think that in terms of like fit and finish, this is probably the cleanest one.
Pretty nice. Yeah, it is expensive. I think if you're already in the Glock system of stuff, you'll likely have some of these parts. You will need a Gen 3. They recommend using an OEM Glock. I think Glock actually provides in there some of their kit. I don't know if they sell the whole gun by itself, but when I talked to Dave about it, he was like, use an OEM Glock. They were nice enough to let us build this thing around their platform. Please use an OEM Glock, which is what that thing's on. This is a brand new out of the box OEM Gen 3 17. If you already have one laying around and you got the money to burn, that is a very cool range toy with, if you had the training, potentially some actual real world implication use, but I'm probably not stopping. I'm an idiot and I carry a 1911, but I'm not changing my ADC anytime soon. But it is a very cool feature that you're getting without getting in trouble with the ATF.
They are freedom facilitators. The government tells you can't go make bangs really fast, and
They said,
and they found they found a way around that. So, not around it, but an alternate way to do it.
Yeah, you got money to burn and have some experience with this. Let us know how that goes. You will go through 9mm probably a little too fast given the economy, but you will have a good time doing it. If you guys have experience doing it, or if you have any other questions, go ahead and put it in the comment section below. We do read all of the comments, and I will argue with you about it. We are also going to likely have a thread on the forums for this. You can look it up. You will see my Lion-O figure of Joshua Soar. I'll go dox myself here because I work here. We also have a Discord with a link in the doobly-doo, as well as all of our socials are going to be AR15com or ARFCOM on all the places that don't allow that name, which is a lot. You'd be surprised. But go check it out. Go shoot. Go have fun. And go just enjoy stuff for the fun of it. This is a pretty cool example of that.